Do you ever wait till everyone's asleep and then you sneak down to your kitchen and you eat things in secret that you don't want anyone to find out about, and then maybe you hide the evidence, you put it right at the bottom of the bin so no one can see the packets? Maybe you even go out the next day and you replace the contents of what you've eaten. I used to do all of the above. There's absolutely no judgment here, but this video is for you if you want to stop your secret eating habits. So, like I said, I did all those things. I've done some very embarrassing things that I'm not proud of with food in the quest to try and stop overeating. I was binge eating for the best part of 2 decades and extreme dieting to try and control my eating habits, and they just made that whole thing worse. So coming to you with no judgment, as always, just understanding of where you might be and how you can get to a place where I am now, which is completely balanced and peaceful with food, enjoying food a lot more, but no longer overeating or binge eating. And I don't have any more secret eating habits, which is wonderful. So just so you know that you are understood, I have a lot of compassion for where you're at, and let's talk about some of the eating habits so you can recognize the pattern. So one thing that my clients tell me is that they have this idea that certain foods are good and they're allowed to eat, and certain foods are bad and they're not allowed to eat. And one of the secret eating habits that I've seen a lot, that I had too, is that we only feel comfortable eating the good foods, the foods we deem healthy, in front of people. So for example, when I used to work in the NHS in an office, if I was offered a biscuit or cookie in the office by a colleague, I would say no, because I wanted to be seen as this healthy person. But then in my lunch break, sometimes I would go to the supermarket, I would buy lots of bingy snack foods that I deemed bad for me, and I would eat them, shoveling it all in, and I would then hide the evidence of the packets under my car seat until I could discreetly put them in a bin somewhere. So we might have this idea that we only want to eat healthy foods in front of people. Other people have told me that they'll even decline birthday cake, but then they'll feel so deprived that then they go home and they start eating all the foods that they shouldn't in secret. So recognizing that if you have a pattern. Another client I worked with that I'm thinking about right now had this compulsion to eat whatever was in front of her so quickly, so it was out of the way before people could notice how much she'd eaten. That might be something you notice in you. And then also, if after the event of eating you feel too full, uncomfortable, you feel a lot of regret over what you've just done, or you wish it hadn't happened. And often hiding the evidence is us trying to be like, oh, let's just pretend it didn't happen. It's a bit like an ostrich burying its head in the sand. We just want to erase it. And we say, all right, tomorrow we're going to start again. We're not going to do this again. Enough is enough. Drawing a line in the sand. And it's not that simple, unfortunately, but you can change them. So just recognizing if you have any of those secret eating habits and just being aware, but being compassionate with yourself. So much of our secret eating habits, I think, comes from a place of feeling shame. We feel shame that we don't have control over food in the way we want to. We might feel shame over the way that we're eating, and that shame is not very motivating in the way we want it to be, and it's creating more of the habits and behaviors that are secretive and are not supportive. So just getting curious and recognizing if you're feeling shame and being aware of it. And then you can start to work through the shame. And shame is an emotion, it's energy that's stuck in the body. And so one of the best ways to move through it is to move. Going for a walk in nature, getting connected with your body and moving in a way that feels good, even if it's just stretching, rolling out your mat, using the carpet, moving through the energy that you're feeling, that emotion, that heaviness, just moving through it. So instead of reaching for the food, you're choosing the movement in that moment. If this isn't available for you, maybe in that moment you can't connect to that in that moment, then maybe taking some breaths intentionally. So allowing the inhale through your nose and then the exhale through your mouth to be longer than the inhale. So really exhaling whatever's there that needs to let go. This is a good way to move energy and to get in touch with anything that's stagnating in our body. And practicing inhaling into the tummy, but then carrying the inhale up to the chest before exhaling and just really letting it all go can be helpful. It's very important in any process to stop any behavior that we don't want to do anymore, is to be very curious and not critical. And I know it's easy to be critical, but we have to think about, what would our mom or our lovely grandparent or a friend say to us? They wouldn't be critical and mean. They would want to understand. They'd be seeking to understand. And so really seeking to understand why you've developed these behaviors. Is it because you've been on diets on and off for a lot, so you felt very deprived? That was this case for me. Is it that you're trying to control and it just feels like something you can control? One of the few things we can control in life is the food we put in our body. So much is out of our control. Trying to feel relief, like numbing yourself, like the more food you put in yourself, you can't feel yourself anymore, you just feel heavy. And so it's avoiding feeling something negative like shame, or it could be stress, loneliness. For me, often it was restlessness. I needed more adventure, more exploration in my weekends and things like that. It could be from this deprivation. So if you've been on a diet, you're depriving yourself of certain food groups like sugar or whatever it is, then you're getting to this place of really wanting it so bad because you're rebelling against the fact you've told yourself you can't have it, and then you are reaching for it and you're trying to be secretive. Maybe you've told people that you live with, I'm going to lose weight, I'm not going to eat these foods anymore. And then you feel guilty because you still want to, so you have to do it in secret. So it could be that. So developing the approach of allowing all foods, that foods are no longer forbidden, will help you stop having these secret eating behaviors. And you might notice in the beginning that you still want to eat lots of it because you're finally giving yourself permission. So you're like, woohoo. But if you keep giving yourself permission, if you get over that little hump, you keep giving yourself permission, you will get to the place where you don't actually want it in such a large quantity because it's allowed. So it's no longer as exciting for you. It's almost like we've got kind of a toddler in our mind, sometimes that's working against us. And when we actually give the toddler what they want, they no longer want it anymore. If you've worked with kids or have kids, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And we do have to kind of treat ourselves a little bit in that way when we have this relationship with food that's not mature and healthy. And again, still don't judge yourself for it. It's just how it is. It's been a coping strategy that you've used. It makes complete sense. It's normal. You're perfectly normal. Doesn't mean anything about you. It's just a coping strategy that you can change. And then we work slowly on rebuilding trust with ourselves. So it takes a bit of time. I tend to work with a client for 3 months because it's not like there's a quick fix to this. And I think sometimes we think that a new diet or healthy eating plan or gym routine is going to suddenly cure us of this coping strategy we've developed in eating in these ways. And it's not that simple. And I know that might not be what you want to hear, but it is possible to overcome it when you use the right approach, when you come at this from a place of slowly transforming your relationship with food. Then it's a sustainable way, and then you no longer have these eating habits. I have not done any kind of secret eating habits, binge eating, overeating, emotional eating for about 7 or 8 years. So before that, it was 2 decades, 20 years of ridiculous behavior with food and having no control, and my dress size going up 3 dress sizes if binge eating was winning, and these secret eating habits, and then dropping back down if dieting or bulimia was winning. So knowing that you can be in a very peaceful place too, because if I can, then definitely you can. I 100% believe that. So I will share my booking link below if you'd like to book a 20-minute call with me to see how we can move this forward for you. Then I would love to support you. Okay, chat to you soon. Bye-bye.